welcome to my channel. I am so excited today because as you can see from the title and the little clips that I put in before this, I'm going to be starting my reading vlog for Chain of Iron, Cassandra Clare's newest book in the Last Hours series and the Shadowhunter Chronicles. So I am so excited for this. Cassandra Clare is my favorite author and I've just been loving her books for years. So I'm very excited to dive into this and let you know my thoughts throughout the week as I read it. I will just say I'm going to make this a spoiler-filled review because that's just kind of how I want to do it. I want to be able to talk about all of the details. So if you have not read this book already, then I'm sorry, you'll have to come back once you have read it. But if you have already read it, or if you don't care about spoilers, then stick around because I'm going to be letting you know my thoughts on everything that happens in this book. It's pretty long, so don't know how long this vlog will go, but I assume I'm going to be loving it, so I'll probably go through it pretty quickly. So far I have just briefly started the first chapter and I'm already super excited to be back in this world with these characters. I'm not going to take too much time describing what happened in the first book because if you're here I assume you've read Chain of Gold already. So let's just hop into the reading vlog and I'll let you know my thoughts periodically throughout this book. Hey guys, so I was reading last night as you saw, but I forgot to give you guys any sort of update. I got to page 104. Not as far as I wanted to get, but what can you do? So my thoughts so far, if you guys didn't know, I was a big fan of Matthew and Cordelia in the first book, as in I shipped them, even though Cordelia and James is the main ship. I just felt like there's something between Matthew and Cordelia. I'm just a sucker for the underdog ship, so that's what I was leaning towards. They have a scene pretty early on in this book, right, where Matthew takes Cordelia to her like surprise bachelorette party basically, and I don't know, I just was not getting any romantic vibes from it and I was pretty much just getting friendship vibes. So I think my ship might be dead. My little ship that never even got started in this series, I think it might have been killed. I don't think it's gonna become a thing. I think they're just gonna be friends, so it's kind of a letdown for me. But anyways, moving on. Then of course we have James, who continues to wear the bracelet from Grace. Even though it's been, I think it's supposed to be months since he last saw Grace, he still has not taken it off. He even got married wearing the bracelet. And it's just so frustrating. I know it's like a huge plot point, but I hope it's a plot point that gets solved soon because I'm just over it. I'm sure you guys are too if you're reading it. Another thing, we have Lucy, and I believe that is who is on the cover here, the beautiful cover, and she is trying to get Jesse back to life working with Grace. And honestly, I feel like Jesse and Lucy might be my favorite Lost Hour, or what is this called? Last Hours couple. Before, as I said, it was Cordelia and Matthew, and I liked the potential I saw there, but I actually think my favorite ship is Lucy and Jesse. I just think they are the cutest ones, and yeah, that's my ship now. That's my Last Hours OTP. I hope we continue to get scenes with them in the book. I'm sure we will. I obviously hope that they can bring Jesse back to life. Another thing, so while there are frustrating things like James's bracelet, there's also things that I'm like so grateful for, and that's the fact that all of the merry thieves and all of our main characters know that the marriage between James and Cordelia is fake and is only supposed to be for 1 year. I hate lies and miscommunication and things like that in books, as most people do, so I'm really glad that all of the main characters and all of our main friend group know that it's just fake and it's for like convenience to protect James and protect Cordelia. So that is one thing I am grateful for. I'm glad that all of our characters are in this together and it's not like only James and Cordelia know about it and they're keeping it from all their friends. So that is something that I am relieved about. And then one of the last things that happened recently in the book that I read is we're getting some Grace chapters.
Not Cassandra Clare trying to redeem Grace.
No, but they actually have been interesting. I mean, I'm all for Grace getting redeemed and being a better person and not being evil anymore. Of course, because she was literally like the devil last book. So the fact that she's getting redeemed, I'm kind of here for it. I'm kind of interested, but can she just tell James to take the damn bracelet off? Just please. But yeah, she is starting to get redeemed, I think. We're starting to get some background on her. And we just had Christopher escort her to the wedding, and If you guys know about the family tree that was in one of the previous books, you know that Grace and Christopher are supposed to be married. Sorry if that's a spoiler if you didn't know that, but there has been some speculation about whether that family tree is going to end up being accurate. But now that those two have started interacting, I think it could be accurate, and I'm here for the potential ship and the potential romance with those two because I think it would be really cute. But that's only if Grace continues to seem like a better person. So that's my update after 100 pages. Maybe I'll try and do an update after every 100 pages that I read. So hopefully I can give you another update tonight when I get to 200 pages. Alright, so I have got to page 280. Almost halfway. Let's look at my notes. Okay, first things first. I literally had just talked about how I wasn't really feeling things between Cordelia and Matthew anymore. And then they literally have this moment at this party where they are dancing.
And there was a moment. There was tension.
Mostly from Matthew's point of view. It's definitely seeming like it's an unrequited thing, potentially on Matthew's end. But I don't care. I'm considering the ship back on officially. So Matthew and Cordelia are still, I think, potential thing that could happen in the books. But yeah, it really is interesting how this series, I feel like, focuses on relationships a lot more than any of the other Shadowhunter books, and really focuses on like the day-to-day normal things that the characters are going through. I think just in the last maybe like 50 pages, we focused more on like Shadowhunter things and like actual plot and actual like fantasy things. A lot of this series is your typical like just romance drama, relationship drama, which I'm here for. I love it. But finally, we are getting into more of the complex like Shadowhunter storylines. I don't think I've mentioned, but there's like random deaths that have been happening. So right now, I think up to like 4 different people have been killed, and they have all been Shadowhunters. So that's the only thing that's in common. But other than that, it's pretty random. So one of the people that died was this new character called Philomena. I was actually suspicious of her. I'm like, why are we getting introduced to this new character? Why is she here? Like, I was actually suspicious of her. Turns out Cassie just introduced her because she wanted to kill her. Basically, she's dead. So that happened, and then most recently Elias just died, which is Cordelia's dad. And honestly, like, I'm kind of happy about it. I was really not liking him. He's an alcoholic and like has that sickness, as they always refer to it, which like sucks. Having him back into the story, because he wasn't in the first one, having him in the second one, like, he was just kind of annoying. So I'm honestly glad that he's dead. But in terms of theories about that, like who the killer is, I don't really have many theories. My only thing that I've noticed about it is that they keep mentioning all of the people are murdered in similar ways, except for the first person was killed in a different way. So I think that might have something to do with it, whether it was a different murderer that killed the first person or something like that. I don't know. I don't really know. One other thing, to bring it back to shipping, and because the relationships are the main thing to really talk about in this book, I know I've mentioned other ships and I haven't really mentioned James or Cordelia. I actually do really like James and Cordelia. I know I have my little like fantasy ship of Cordelia with Matthew, but I actually do quite like James and Cordelia as individuals and together. And with their marriage and them spending so much time together, we're really seeing so many nice moments between the two of them. And like, don't get me wrong, I definitely do really ship them, and I just feel like Cassie Clare is so good at writing those like forbidden relationships that are like full of desire but like they can't be together. I just feel like the way she described their scenes together, it really makes you like want to root for them and want them to be together, yet they can't. I am really enjoying that aspect of it. One other ship I'll mention is Anna and Ariadne. I was a fan of this ship back when we first were introduced to them, and like in the last book I was rooting for them, but I don't know, I'm finding their storyline kind of sad in this book. Anna is like not embracing the relationship because she's been hurt in the past. Ariadne is like fighting for her, which is nice, but I'm kind of wishing Anna would take the relationship seriously and see that Ariadne is like being serious. But I also just find their storyline to be kind of random because they're such side characters. I'm not overly like interested in their scenes. I'm more so interested in like the Cordelia and James storylines. I think that's all my notes up until this point. Maybe I will not update again until like page 400. See you in the next update. Intermission from the reading log for a empty apartment tour. Here's my new apartment.
Gamer pad.
Gamer pad. We finished making our dresser. Here's the bedroom for the empty house tour. Hey guys, so it's been a couple days since I really updated on the book on the reading vlog. As you guys saw, I am currently in the middle of a move, so I've been at the new apartment all weekend building furniture. It's been a lot, so I haven't had a chance to read too much, but I got to page 400, so I thought I would give an update on what has happened so far. So for one thing, and I'm gonna sound like a freaking broken record here, but I wanted to touch base on Cordelia and Matthew. I am curious to see if anyone else cares about this relationship as much as I do, but we keep having moments where I'm like, okay, they actually seem like they're just friends. It seems like it's platonic. And then there's moments where I'm like, oh, Cordelia noticed Matthew's arms. She never noticed them before, and like how good they looked. Like, we just have little things, and I'm like, is this what I want? Is this romantic? So basically I'm just waiting to see if that becomes anything. Even if it doesn't, I've accepted that I think it is still my favorite like relationship in this series, or one of my favorite relationships. Even if it is platonic, I just really love their moments together. What else has happened? We had some stuff with Grace. So Grace went over to James and made him kiss her. So this book's actually been good because we haven't had a lot of James and Grace moments, but of course Grace just had to hop back in here. Even though she was being redeemed in this book, she had to hop back in, get James all riled up thinking about her. Literally, she could have got him to take off the bracelet, but she didn't do it. So I'm just really frustrated about that. The bracelet is cracked a little bit, so I'm really hoping it'll keep cracking and just like fall off. I actually think it would be really nice if like Grace doesn't even get him to take it off, it just like falls off, or he takes it off himself or something like that. Another thing that frickin' Grace has been doing is she's conspiring with Malcolm because she's trying to get Malcolm to help her bring Jesse back because he does like necromancy magic, and she is the one that tells him that Annabelle is dead, which, as we know from the Dark Artifices, that's literally the whole plot. Spoiler alert if you haven't read that series, but literally Malcolm is the villain of that series, as we know, and he's trying to raise Annabelle from the dead. And we know now that Grace is the one that told him that she was dead. So literally Grace not only is a villain in this series, but she basically caused the bad stuff in TDA as well. So not liking Grace anymore. I know I went on that whole spiel about her being redeemed, but like, no, I think that was just like a tease. She's gonna need a lot more to actually be redeemed in my eyes. And then most recently what's been happening is Thomas came across a dead body, and in a classic situation was caught with blood on his hands when trying to save her. And now he is a murder suspect because he was at the scene of the crime. So I'm really stressed about that, or I was. But literally there's so many people in Thomas's corner. I'm like, there's no way he'll get convicted of this. And then freaking Alistair pops in saying that he witnessed the whole thing and he knows that Thomas actually is innocent. Thomas and Alistair, I don't think I've mentioned them yet in this vlog because they haven't had too many scenes, but I majorly ship them. They are one of my favorite ships in this series as well. They just haven't been given a lot of scenes yet, but now they are both held up in this room until the mortal sword can come to test whether they're telling the truth or not. So I'm really anticipating that they are gonna have some more like cute bonding scenes while they're both like in prison together, basically. Living for that. I still don't know who the real killer is going to be. I don't really know if it's going to be anything that we could have guessed. But yeah, what was a bad situation with Thomas being accused of murder now may actually be good because bringing him and Alistair closer. So excited to see what happens with that. Yeah, so hopefully I can finish this soon. a heck of a lot just happened. I don't even know where to start. It was honestly hard for me to stop reading. This is how far I am. I got to page 563. Before we get into the main climactic part of the book and like the plot twist, we had a really cute scenes between Thomas and Alistair. As I mentioned, I was really looking forward to whatever moments they were going to have when locked up together, and it definitely came through. They basically admitted their feelings for each other and were making out, and like that's gonna be a whole thing. So I'm so happy for them. I think they're so cute just because of the time that they are in, like being in the Edwardian era. Like, don't know how it's gonna be for their relationship as a gay couple, so not sure how that's gonna go. Ultimately, I am also sad for them because of that, but I'm happy that they have like found each other, and it was honestly so cute. I really like their dynamic. On another like relationship based thing, I think Christopher and Grace had another scene, or he was thinking about her or something, and like I've decided I don't really ship it right now. I know I said I was kind of excited at the idea of those two together, but I'm not feeling it yet. I don't think Grace has been redeemed enough for that, and Christopher is just so sweet and innocent, and I feel like she's just manipulating him so far, so not counting that as one of my ships. So then I guess we get into like a bunch of like plot twists, and like a bunch of things were happening. So there was this little rune transfer thing that they had found that the killer was using, so they were stealing runes off of these dead bodies. So Christopher had it and was like experimenting with it and stuff, and then someone comes and poses as Matthew and steals it. So I was really confused when that happened, because I'm like, why is Matthew there taking this tool for James? Like, did I miss something? Like, did I miss a chapter where he was going to do that? No, it was a trick. Someone made themselves look like Matthew to steal it. So I was like, oh crap. Then we have like a showdown with James and Belial. Belial? I hope it's Belial, because that's what I'm gonna say. And that is of course the evil demon from the first book. That's James's grandfather, because that was Tessa's dad, right? Yeah. So it's basically like another showdown with him and Belial, and then Magnus is there for a bit, and then he gets like blown away, and then Cordelia like helps saves James again, whatever. They start making out. Love it. I know, as I said a million times, I ship Cordelia with Matthew, but I also ship her with James, so I was loving that. Like, James was really like feeling it. And then finally, oh my god, finally, hallelujah, praise the angel Raziel, the bracelet falls off, which is what I said I wanted, right? Like, even though I like wanted Grace to like take it off, I also wanted it to just like fall off and be damaged, and that's what happened. And I don't really know what the fallout of that is going to be. That is something that we're going to read in this next section, I'm assuming. But he did call Cordelia my love, so I think that's over with. Like, I think he's finally going to be able to feel his love for Cordelia again, and like they're actually gonna have a real marriage. It makes me so happy. It makes me really happy for them, but we still have to see that. But anyways, then the plot just like kept going. We find out that Jesse is the one that has all the runes on it. So instantly I was thinking that Grace was the killer. Did you guys think that, or did you guys figure it out? I was thinking that, okay, this is Grace's plan. She's been like stealing the runes and putting them on Jesse, but no, actually everything all kind of ties together, and actually Belial, what is it? Belial was the one possessing Jesse to kill people to get the runes, so basically he can possess Jesse, because his ultimate plan was like to possess James in the first book, right? So now he's just like trying to possess someone else. So he's been possessing Jesse, so now he's in Jesse's body. So then I'm just like summarizing the book. I shouldn't be saying everything that happened, but basically there's a showdown. Lucy doesn't want them to stab him because she loves Jesse and wants to bring Jesse back, but like it's what they had to do. They had to like stab him. So now Belial has been stabbed twice, and I think he has to be stabbed once or two more times until he's really dead. So I'm guessing that will be in the third book. Yeah, Jesse seems like he's actually dead now. Again, we're gonna have to see the fallout of that, because that's pretty bad. Like, that's been such a major point in this book, is trying to bring him back, and it looks like they haven't, and it's like really sad for Lucy. I grew to like not ship her and Jesse like as much throughout the book, but I'm still really sad for her, and kind of wondering what is going to happen with that, and like where her story is going to go now if Jesse is dead. and then I'm not excited to see Grace's reaction either. Oh, and we also had Leviathan appear as well, so we had like a double tag teaming demon duo, so that was something that happened as well. I have to say, when it comes to the greater demon storylines, I feel like I don't like those villains as much as I like when we have more of a normal villain, like when we've had, you know, Valentine and Sebastian in TMI, or when we've had Mortmain, or when we've had, you know, Malcolm Fade. I definitely prefer those types of villains that are a little bit more rooted in like the reality of the Shadowhunter world, more than when we have the greater demons coming in here like Belial or like Lilith. Oh, I didn't mention, so then we had this, that was actually the main plot twist, was that Lilith, obviously the mother of all demons, we know her from other things and also from TMI. So she actually pops in here and she's like, I'm pissed at you, Belial. And like basically she popped in throughout the book disguising herself as different people. So she pretended to be Magnus Bane. She pretended to be this like warlock. She pretended to be Balin, the like sword maker that Cordelia had visited. So that was definitely a plot twist. That was pretty good. Definitely was not expecting that. It's just, as I said, I don't really love the greater demon storylines. Like, and that's something similar to the Eldest Curses series. We're having a lot of greater demon villains in that series as well. And I don't know, it's just like not really my favorite, but that's obviously the direction of like all of these new Shadowhunter books are taking, which I guess makes sense. Like the villain has to get bigger and bigger, and there's not much bigger you can get than like Lilith and like greater demons, right? That's a major update. I read a big chunk of the book and the main like climactic part, so I probably like left stuff out, but basically it was a very good, exciting part to read. But I'll let you know when I read this falling action now and just kind of see like how our characters are feeling with everything that's happened and where we're ending up. So I finished the book last night. I was not in the best state to update. Not really anything to do with the book, mostly due to like personal reasons. Wasn't in the best mood, but here we go. What are my final thoughts on the last chunk of the book? So basically, if you guys have read this, which I assume you have if you're watching, this was just so much angst, just so many like upsetting things, I guess, happening at the end with absolutely all of our characters. Like two of our fave gay ships, so that's Anna and Ariadne, and then Thomas and Alistair, both end on not a great note. So we definitely got the angst in place for everything to wrap up in the third book. I don't know why I thought some things would go well at the end of this book. Like, it's the middle book, obviously not. So both of those ships are having an angsty time right now, which is sad, but also looking forward to their happy ending in the next one. Then, oh my god. So James, man, you need to talk. So he finally is going to tell Cordelia that he loves her because the bracelet is now off of him. Mind control is now broken, but he like doesn't get to the point quick enough. And then someone shows up at the door and he's like, okay, Cordelia, go upstairs. I'm gonna be up in a minute and we can chat. Obviously we know that's not going to happen. So the person that's at the door is freaking Grace, and she, you know, thinks she still has control over him and everything, and he sort of plays along at first until he can like trap her and be like, aha, I'm no longer under your control, blah blah blah. Of course, but what does Cordelia see? She sees Grace show up and his initial reaction of like hugging her. It was so frustrating because like all James needed to do was quickly tell Cordelia about the bracelet, about how he felt. No. So he has this big scene with Grace where I'm like loving it because he finally is not under her control and he's like telling her what's up. But then once he's done, we find that Cordelia has run away because she misunderstood what was happening. Classic situation. So she's running off. Now, you guys know, as I've mentioned a million times, about my multiple ships in this book. So immediately I realized she's running to Matthew. She's going to Matthew. And so a part of my heart was breaking because I ship her with James and I do like them. And you know, James is finally able to be himself and realize his feelings for her, and it's really upsetting. But then I was also happy because I'm like, she's going to Matthew. She's going to my man Matthew. So she pops up there and he's like, oh, I'm actually going to Paris. And he admits his feelings for her, which she doesn't feel back, which again, my heart's breaking from that. But she decides to go to Paris with him. He invites her to Paris, and I'm like, yes, we're getting some Cordelia and Matthew content next book, because they're going to be in Paris together, probably bonding. I still don't think they're endgame, just with the vibe. I think Cordelia and James are obviously endgame. I'm glad that I can at least get some Cordelia and Matthew content in the meantime. I'm just really sad I don't know what's gonna happen in the end with Matthew, because I just feel so bad for him. Like, everyone he loves, it just doesn't work out. So they're on their way to Paris. James is like trying to catch them, and I was honestly proud of him, because I'm like, good, like catch up to them. And he was so close to it. And then of course Will is like, no, you have to stay because Lucy disappeared, and he does, because he's a good brother and, you know, good son. But still, that makes it interesting. We're gonna get Matthew and Cordelia content in the next book. I also didn't mention Lucy actually succeeds in bringing Jesse back to life. I thought that storyline was gonna be done. I'm like, he's dead, this is done. Apparently not. She actually was finally able to bring him back to life now, but she like passed out, and like who knows what's wrong with her. So there's a lot of drama going on. There is a lot of drama. This book was so good. Obviously it's 5 stars for me, if that wasn't clear. Like, I'm just so invested in every single thing, every single character, every single relationship. Like, Cassie does such a good job with the series. I think the only thing, as I said, I'm actually not as into like the demon stuff and like the actual like Shadowhunter plot, but I am here for all of these relationships. So ready for the next book. Like, can we have it? Like, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen and who is gonna end up with who and everything. I'm not sure what else to say, because I think I've said quite a bit. Yeah, just know this book is amazing. Let me know what you guys thought if you have read this book and you made it this far in the video, and let me know your ships, because that's the most important thing, honestly. So thank you guys so much for watching my Chain of Iron vlog. Please make sure to subscribe as well for more bookish videos like this. I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which is coming very, very soon. All right, bye.